Welcome back to Madison Live. Today we are joined by Deaquan Nichols, who currently is in the STEM field here at JMU. Deaquan, can you tell us a little bit about your research and what you plan on doing in the future?
I just finished a research project on the acceleration of photosynthesis, which I'm currently writing a paper about. And now with my independent scholars major, I will be pursuing research about the neurobiology of trauma.
So as a former athlete, what made you kind of choose to go into the study of neurobiology, especially with CTE being so prominent in football?
I just believe the brain, the way the brain is wired is just so complex and so interesting. And as far as neurobiology goes, especially trauma in general, trauma is almost like a self-taught language, one that really doesn't relate to anyone else, and it's such a relative term, and it's just an amazing concept and something I really just want to learn more about.
And what other research projects have you been involved in, even prior to JMU?
During my high school career, I did research for JMU, and my first research project was on a certain protein called the BC1 complex that affects things like cancer and other things of the sort. And then my next project was on photosynthesis and accelerating that, and that was very successful. It's a paper I really look forward to publishing soon. And now we're on to this one.
So with the neurobiology study that you're working on now, what have you learned so far about how the brain recovers from trauma?
That's a very, very, it's a very hard thing to really deduce, because you have to really find out what trauma is and if you really can recover, or if it's just growth in general, or I don't know, it's just so many aspects of it, because you have the physical aspects where sometimes you just see a certain trigger that just makes you get chills or just makes your body tingle, whereas they have the mental triggers as well, that it's just so many aspects of it, and so complex that I don't know, like I'm still trying to learn that and figure that out myself.
So while you're studying, do you plan on looking more so into the physical trauma of it, or like the emotional traumas that kind of lead towards brain trauma?
I have been looking more toward the emotional trauma, simply because I believe trauma is something that we all share in our own ways, and it's almost like a bridge between all socioeconomical classes, all races, all people. And if we can understand trauma better, we can understand each other better, and then hopefully unify more as a race.
Right. So with you kind of being one of the few Black students that we have here at JMU in your STEM field, how do you think you're making an impact on future generations of African American students?
I feel like when students see me and see me succeed, that they can see a reflection of themselves, because often it's hard to really thrive in a field that doesn't look like you, or isn't like anything you're used to. When you go to school back at home, you see nothing but Black and minority students. Then you come to a school like JMU, and it's like you're the only one. It can have like an intimidation factor, but if you're confident and you really believe in yourself more than almost anything else, and I think you can succeed in whatever you want to succeed in. And I really hope that when people see me, when they apply to JMU or when they come to JMU, they see a reflection of themselves.
So what have you learned about yourself kind of while being here at JMU?
Man, I've learned so much. I've learned that, I guess the biggest thing I've learned is that I'm not alone no matter what I do. Back at home, I've always had support from, a lot of people in my city and family members and everything like that. But it wasn't until I got to JMU that I had people texting me just randomly, like, you influenced me so much. Like, I actually want to go to college now, or I want to go to medical school. I just want to do something with my life. And just seeing how much support and how much love I have from people back at home is really the number one thing I've learned, and I embrace it so much, and I'm really honored and grateful for it.
So of all your experiences here at JMU, what do you take pride in the fact that you came to JMU over the Ivy League schools that you were accepted into?
I definitely do. I feel like JMU was the perfect place for me. It helped me grow so much as an individual, as a student, as a man in general. JMU is definitely the place I wanted to be, and I've never regretted my decision once.
Right. And what Ivy Leagues were you accepted into?
I applied and was accepted into Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, and Brown.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Deaquan, and we kind of look forward to seeing your future in the STEM field and what you can progress in your research.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.